Now that my first trip of the year is over, it's time to do a review of the BagSmart bags. Now for my trip to Mexico City, it was me and my mom, so these are the following bags that we used on our trip. The Blast 28 liter, the Faro 29 liter, Travel Ease 4-in-1, and 2 of the smaller Blast packing cubes. Now this trip wasn't necessarily a fun one, it was more for doctor visits. So with that in mind, I gave my mom the 28 liter Blast backpack and I used the Faro 29, and then we split the packing cubes. However, my mistake was not helping my mom pack. Now, I don't know if your mom's like this or if you're like this, she gets very overwhelmed with packing, and at the end of the day, she just ends up jamming everything in her bag and hopes for the best. So because of this, she couldn't really figure out how to use the packing cubes that I gave her to her benefit. And all she ended up using was the smaller packing cube as more of her catch-all bag for all of her tech, medicine, and random little accessories that she needed to bring with her within the Blast backpack. As for me, I ended up using the 4-in-1 packing cube. In it, I ended up packing 2 pairs of pants, 2 long sleeves, a tank top, and a dress. Although I still had more room to put more clothes in it, I knew this trip was more for doctor visits and such, so I didn't really plan on exploring the city as much. If anything, I planned on staying around and lounging around the hotel room. Now I also packed along in my mono suitcase a pair of sneakers, a thin sweater, my toiletry bag, my hairbrush, dryer combo, and my socks and such I put in the smaller Blast packing cube. Now I was able to fit a good amount of underwear, long and short socks, as well as an extra sports bra. Now, sidebar, I don't believe I've ever really spoken about the Monos Pro suitcase before. If anything, I kind of regret getting the Pro version, which is the one with the front pocket at the top, which is advertised as kind of your laptop quick access pocket as well as for small tech accessories. It has great pockets in it. However, when you have that Mono suitcase packed fairly full, that pocket becomes obsolete. You literally cannot close that zipper up, let alone put a laptop in it. I feel it has to be paper thin to have anything jammed in there. I'm always afraid that if I do put a laptop or even my iPad, it's going to crack the screen as just how much pressure it is. I think the problem is that this pocket isn't technically sticking out of your suitcase. If anything, it's kind of integrated inward, again, to be able to comply with the size requirements. So again, I would have opted out for that front zipper pocket. But nevertheless, on this trip, I was able to fit a few packets of Theraflu tea, allergy medicine, and surprisingly, I ended up packing my jewelry case. It barely zipped up, but it zipped up. Now onto the Faro 29 liter, which I use as my personal travel everyday backpack. Now unfortunately it wasn't as successful as I wanted to pack it really bare, for my shopping, but within I did pack a book, which I'm proud to say I actually finished really shortly within the trip. I ended up reading like half the book within one day. A few smaller pieces of tech such as charging, a portable speaker, my hoodie, and other things that I would need for quick access while on the plane. And of course, my laptop. So because of this, I opted out to bring in my iPad as I really didn't have any room for it, first of all. And secondly, I was kind of hopeful that I would have enough room for my Steam Deck because I've actually been back on the Steam Deck thanks to the game Spiritfarer, which has no business being as good as it is. It's super heartbreaking. I think I probably cried on the first time I played it. Absolutely beautiful. Needless to say, I played 12 hours the first day I dove into this game. So because I thought this trip was more staying in the hotel, waiting around for the doctors, I thought, hey, having a Steam Deck would be kind of awesome. But at the end of the day, I'm glad I didn't bring it. We were able to fit some exploration throughout our time there. And then plus, Steam Deck is very heavy and bulky, so I didn't have enough room for it, and B, I'm glad I didn't bring it because that was just extra weight that I would have to carry with me. Anyways, once at the hotel, for our longer days out and about, I emptied out my Faro backpack and used it as my everyday explore the city backpack. It was comfortable, and thanks to the side strap, I was able to cinch down so it didn't look as bulky or big on my back while walking around. There were a few places around the city where I actually had to check in my backpack because they didn't allow it within the building, so I wish that I would have left the included sling inside of the backpack so then I could then just take out my important things with me and have that with me. In hindsight, I thought what I was doing was smart by emptying literally everything out of the backpack and only bringing what I needed, but this is a note to my future self and to you. Just leave that sling inside of that top front pocket. That way, if you do have to leave your backpack somewhere or check it in, you can still put everything that you need for quick access, just your wallet, your passport, things like that. You'll always have that on you. Again, that was my fault, not the backpack's fault, but needless to say, it worked well. Now, although by the end of the trip, this backpack did have a few dirt spots, I was really surprised at how well it kept up clean-wise given the color of the backpack. Mexico City, if you've never been, is very busy. A lot of foot traffic, dogs everywhere in the best possible way. They take care of their animals and their pets very well. So with that in mind, I was having to place the backpack on the floor, in public benches, in and out of Ubers, sometimes rubbing up against a building just because of how crowded things were, and sometimes even people. But despite all that, I'm very pleased with how it held up. It really didn't have any major dirt spots. Again, it was just those few spots at the top, and actually I think that might have just been from the airport. In putting it under at the airplane, actually with putting it underneath the seat, it might have gotten rubbed off against some dirt because they probably never cleaned down there, but regardless, it still looked really well and clean. So all of this to say, so far I've absolutely loved using that as my personal travel backpack. Now on to the Blast 28-liter bag that my mom used. As mentioned before, she didn't really know how to use this bag, and in hindsight, this bag is more designed for clothes, shoes, etc. because it's meant to be kind of like your one-all bag. When we flew there, the bag was oddly shaped, again as I mentioned. Things were just kind of on top of each other, not really in place. It looked heavy and bulky, and I was almost certain they weren't going to allow that as her personal item because it looked really big. But to my surprise, it fit flawlessly underneath the airplane seat. Now, upon arriving to the hotel, I kind of looked around her backpack to see why on earth it looked the way it looked. And ultimately, yes, I think it just lacked organization. So when the day arrived that we had to pack up and come back, she kind of took note of her items. I gave her some pointers on how to utilize the bag a little bit better. And this time it looked so much better. It's still heavy because of the items that she packed in there, a lot of paperwork and things like that, but it looked more like a normal size backpack and had more room for her to be able to put her feet on the sides of the bags once underneath the seat. But with that in mind, she actually told me on the way back as we were unpacking that she was wanting to learn how to use the packing cubes to her benefit, because I said she ended up not using it. She didn't know how, which means simplifying her travel wardrobe. She hasn't gotten there yet, so I will keep you updated. So overall, it's safe to say that we packed these bags to the brim. In comparison with how I had the Pharaoh on the way there versus on the way back, I think I peaked the limit of how many things I could jam pack into the backpack and miraculously, flawlessly still fit underneath the airplane seat. I still had enough room on each side to kind of extend my feet a little bit and have access to the quick top pocket for any things that I might need during the flight. Now, before I wrap up this video, I do want to brag about one piece of tech that I every day feel like I love it even more. And that's the 2024 13-inch MacBook Air. Now, this was really my only big piece of tech that I brought with me on this trip besides my phone and my camera, but I paired it with my Marshall portable speaker, so it was a great combination to watch movies in bed or lounge around the hotel. We had a really good setup, it was easy and portable.
The brain doesn't just tackle complex tasks like blinking or making porridge. It also handles trivial things like our entire human consciousness, the origins of which are a complete mystery.
Even on the days that we would go out to the hospital or doctor visits and we would be there for hours on end, I'd pull this thing out for web surfing or even some playing games, which my latest game addiction on it has been oxygen not included. During those days out, I did bring my Sateshi portable battery as well as even outlet charging kit, but I really didn't even need to use that. The battery on this thing is absolutely amazing. It handles editing photos and video. Obviously, this video was edited on it as well as the previous ones flawlessly. Now, I was a little bit nervous moving away from the Pro line as I've always gotten Apple Pro line products before, but really all I have to say is that I wish I made this change sooner. I couldn't be happier with this machine. It's lightweight, portable, it's truly the best combination. Okay, so back to the video. BagSmart bags. I'd have to say that for the first trip using these, it went very well. Now, at first I was a little hesitant. I think even when we first arrived to the hotel, I kind of got a weird, hesitant feeling, regret that I should have just brought another backpack with me. I don't know if anyone else out there is like this, but I sometimes feel like my backpacks have feelings, and I'm sure that they got sad that I was replacing them. But nevertheless, I got over that very quickly as this backpack was truly comfortable for all-day use. Even walking miles on end at one time, I never complained about my shoulders hurting. The straps were comfy enough for just everyday walking. It was great to be able to place the items that we would buy throughout our day, easy access to the water bottle, charging needs, and of course the passport pocket was absolutely great. It just felt like everything had its place. So thank you again, BagSmart, for sending all these bags over to review. Now, of course, this isn't the last of these videos. I still have other bags that I want to put on the test run, and I actually do have a month-and-a-half long trip coming up soon. So I hope you guys stick around for that, and I'll see you guys on the next one.